My name is Trevyr Schutz, and this is my final presentation for Aviation 310, and this is going over the required Oregon flight that was assigned to us. So first, let me just move my camera here. So the first route of flight, and here's just some screenshots I took off of ForeFlight that goes over the basic route. So the route starts off at McMinnville Municipal Airport, and it goes directly to the UBG VOR, and then it goes on to the Victor 495 airway to CVO VOR, then the Victor 481 radio airway to EUG VOR, then Victor 23 to OED VOR, then Victor 122 to LMT VOR, and that brings us to our destination of LMT, which is Crater Lake Municipal. So secondly, we'll go over the altitudes required. So looking at all the MEAs for the route selected, starting out it was pretty low. The lowest MEA coming out of the departure airport was 4,000 feet, but you do rise up into the mountains the farther east you go, which is where we're going in Oregon. So towards the end of the route, the highest MEA was around 9,000 feet. So because of that, I just want to have a little bit of buffer between myself and the MEA, and so I picked 11,000. And this altitude um, will guarantee clearance above the highest obstacles and acceptable navigation knowledge. So rolling into weather, here's the departure METAR up at the top. Breaking it down, winds reported 0505 knots, 7 statute miles of visibility, few clouds at 2,000, ceiling at 3,500 feet, temperature 7, dew point -1, altimeter is 3040. The destination TAF, which is around 0515 Zulu, that's about our landing time, because if we take off the 02 30 Zulu, we'll get to our destination around 0515 Zulu. And so from 0500, which is put out forecast right before our proposed arrival time, winds are variable at 3 knots with 5 statute miles of visibility. And there's no reported sky conditions. And I looked further on the TAF, so 1 hour before and 1 hour after, the sky conditions were looking were looking good to get in to the airport using the 123 rule. So an alternate isn't required, but it would be very helpful. So weather continued. Um, so I was noticing, looking at some of the en route TAFs and METARs, the destination and the departure airport were looking good. However, lots of the alternates were either very near my personal minimums or even over the personal minimums. So, for example, at the proposed en route time, EUG airport will have a ceiling of 1,300 feet, and the TAF is forecasting a ceiling of 1,500 feet during en route, which is both below and right at my personal minimums. So if we have like an engine fire or any kind of thing that would require an emergency landing, we would break my personal minimums for that. And then one last thing that I would like to consider in terms of weather is my icing probability. So the temperature of the surface is 7 degrees Celsius. The dew point is -1, and icing can incur in any kind of visible moisture. So rain, clouds, since we're IFR, the ceiling is pretty low, we're going to be flying through clouds as low as 5 degrees Celsius. So I mean, if you use just the basic lapse rate of 2 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet, just 1,000 feet above the ground, we could already be occurring or picking up structural ice if we're in the clouds. So, you know, it would be really hazardous with my 182 because it doesn't have an anti-icing system. So if we pick up structural ice, that could be a very big issue. So moving on to the aircraft systems, my aircraft is equipped with a G1000, so I can have GPS if WAS is available to go to the different airways. If that's not available, VORs can also be used. I also have an oxygen system, as previously stated, but I won't need to use it unless ATC makes me go higher from the 11,000. And also, we don't have any kind of anti-ice system. So pilot limits, it'll be mostly at night. And just looking at my looking back at um, my personal like currency requirements and what I've done previously in the past couple of months, I have around 500 hours at night, so I got a lot of hours at night, but I've only had 25 hours in actual instrument IMC both day and night. And the last time I flew in actual instrument conditions was 8 months ago, so a long time ago. And I've only done one actual approach to minimums during actual IMC, and that was with an instructor. And I am current. I did do my approaches and hold and everything, and the Redbird simulator at my local airport, but that wasn't in an actual plane. And then so the final verdict, while the weather is looking pretty decent, like if it was just the weather, doing the flight probably wouldn't be too much of an issue. I'm just really worried about just my currency and proficiency right now. And also, my children have a sports tournament, so I might have a really bad case of get homeitis. And just with my um, really low, like just actual IMC time, both day and night, and last time I've flown was in a simulator. Um, this doesn't sound like it's a recipe for a good outcome. And on top of that, all the icing as well. So just to add that to the mix. And so my source information, I found two sources. One was from AOPA, and one was from SkyTough, and they were basically just kind of confirming um, my my decision to not go with AOPA. Did an article on currency versus proficiency, and SkyTough did one on the get homeitis. So basically, AOPA was saying saying here, they just laid out three basic questions to ask yourself. So, first, are you actually legal to fly? Which, yes, like I said, I got my currency in a simulator. Um, is it within my capabilities as a pilot? That one, I would say no because I was in a simulator the last time, and the last time I actually flew an IMC was 8 months ago, which was a long time ago, and I hadn't done many actual IMC approaches. And is the flight absolutely necessary? And the answer is no, it's not. A flight is like almost never necessary. Um, so yeah, and then SkyTough also did SkyTough did one basically on get homeitis, and I don't think I ever defined get homeitis. Get homeitis was basically you just want to get home really fast, and if you're in the air, it might cause you to make some bad decisions. So fly really close to weather, exceed your personal minimums just because you really want to get home and get on the ground. And they gave a really sobering example. This was actually an NTSB board member, so someone who really knows his safety. He had a case of get homeitis, and he actually crashed his Cessna 182 Skyline, the same plane I'll be flying, and he fortunately didn't get killed, but him and his passenger were injured. And then one last thing, they also recommend setting personal minimums, which I have and I plan to exceed to, or excuse me, abide by on this flight. Here's my references. And yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you so much for watching, and it was a great class. I just appreciate you know, your help with all the homework and the classes and everything. And just thank you so much. Have a great summer.